Hi, this is Krasm. I picked up this Kenmore Elite sewing machine at a thrift shop, and I was having problems with it. Looking online, I can't actually see any service manuals for this machine, and when I was using it, the needle, anytime I was trying to sew anything, it would catch and say stop for safety purposes. So what was happening there is inside this machine, there's a couple of belts and sensors for those belts, that if the belts start slipping, then it's going to stop the machine to try to protect the motors. So if that's happening to you, even on the thinnest type of cloth, like say 2 pieces of silk or some felt or something that really shouldn't have any issue, you're going to want to do what I'm showing you to do today. You'll need a 2.5 millimeter Allen wrench, a 2 millimeter Allen wrench, a flat blade screwdriver, Phillips screwdriver, and since you're in the machine anyways, you want to get some all-purpose machine oil. You use 3-in-1, but the all-purpose machine oil is less likely to stain any clothing or clothing materials that you're using. So to get inside the machine, there's going to be a Phillips and flathead screw here, a Phillips and flathead screw here, and a Phillips and flathead screw here. You want to undo all those. Take these off. I guess I'll loosen a little bit more. So you'll loosen these two right next to the handle, and then you'll want to open up the front and loosen this Phillips screw right in front, and this will get the top off so you have access to the innards of most of this machine. And the model number for this machine is actually a 385.19365990. So Sears Roebuck machine. Now that we're inside the machine, let me pick up the camera. You'll see right here, this is the primary amount of work. This is what you'll want to oil when you're in the machine. Just use the sewing machine oil. You'll drop it on this cam and bearing, this bearing, this bearing. So now after you oil those, what you'll want to do is remove this back cover, or this cover for your back gears. Undo the belt, which just should slip off. There's a screw right here and here that you can loosen in order to move the front if you need to, in order to get to the wheels. This wheel has 2 set screws that are the 2 millimeter set screws. You'll loosen them, and they're 90 degrees offset, so find wherever they are and then loosen them. Once they're loose, you can use flat blade screwdriver to move it. I guess I need to loosen it a little bit more. But if this is loose, what will end up happening is it'll constantly say stop for safety purposes. So these do actually need to be tight. If it's not tight, then what's happening is it's thinking the belt's slipping and it's trying to protect the motor, which can be very frustrating when you are trying to sew some pants or some jeans or a shirt or anything that you're trying to sew. So then this comes off. You just, once this is off, you just slide this back, get the front out of the way as you pull it. It might come with there's a coil that might come with, and it just slides back in the cog for the front. So this is the coil that you'll loosen it a little bit and slide it in here. Then you'll need the 2.5 millimeter Allen key to undo this set screw. Actually, at this point, you'd be tightening up this set screw, because this is where my problem was. There's only one hole, but the set screws are 180 degrees apart from one another. So you just hold this with the key and you rotate the shaft in order to get this off. And maybe there's 3. Or maybe they are 180 degrees. Yep, I was wrong. They're just 180 degrees or 90 degrees off from one another. So once you are this deep in, just tighten up these set screws after pushing this little wheel all the way back. That way it's nice and flush against this belt for your drive belt from your motor. Tighten it. And if you're using an Allen key, more than a good firm pressure should be fine, because if this slips, what's happening is the machine, like I said, thinks that you're caught and it's trying to protect the motor, which is good because you don't want to burn up a motor that you can no longer get parts for. But hopefully this fixes a problem that I've seen people have and ask questions about. So there's that. Just get nice and tight. And then you'll take this spring and get it back here. Move your front out of the way. Rotate it so it sets bar back. Because what will happen is the spring clicks and it helps drive the gear only one way. So when you're trying to do stitching, it only goes one direction, but you can still manually rotate it left and right. Pop your belt back on by going on the lower gear around the side, then catch the side, just rotate it. I find that's the easiest way to put this belt on. Make certain it's still in the groove, which it is. And that groove, which it is. Then you'll put this back on. I guess I should undo the screw just a little bit, because I think it's catching on the edge. There we go. And this should be flush. Tighten this down. Again, you want to go, you don't want to break the set screw, but you want to get it tight enough that you know it's not going to move when you're using the sewing machine like a sewing machine. Since I'm in here, I'm going to oil the machine again. You don't need to oil the machine too much. A little bit goes a long way, because there's a cam right here next to the edge of the needle. There's also the shaft that everything goes up and down on. There's a bearing right here. That's bronze. You have a bearing right here, and then right here. It just makes it so that it shouldn't catch. And it also reduces your rust buildup. So put your top back on, put your Phillips screw in for the front, and just snug them down. That way the machine doesn't rattle when you run it. Now I loosened a screw right here and here. I should tighten them up, but I'll do that off camera. And that's just so I can move the front without having too many issues. Pop your wheel covers back on. It goes back in place. Put your thread back on, and the thread will go around back, down, up, underneath this little so let's see. Oh, there we go. Thread will come up around this, down, up to right here, to your lifter foot or your lift. It'll go right through here, right around here, down around at the needle right here, and then you could lower this little thread puller, pull your thread out, and your top of the machine is threaded. And then for the bobbin, you pull the thread from the bobbin right here to the side. You'll lower your needle. It'll catch your bobbin, pull it out to the back, and you're good to go. Hopefully that helps people. Thanks for spending a couple minutes with me and fixing your Kenmore Elite, and go out there and get something fixed.